Sorry.
Yeah, no, I couldn't take it anymore. I can't believe you took that. You took so long with this.
Fucking satellites. Fucking weirdo.
Hypotheses don't beg the question.
It wasn't a
Oh god,
hypothesis.
Brenda, shut up, Brenda.
Yeah, they
man.
have the first part,
No,
which is
be nicer,
observer
guys. Fuck.
No, shut up. This is
He
the.
sat, he,
This is,
sat, he sat there dodging a simple, straight question. Can you demonstrate it? All he has to say is, no, I can't, and that's it.
Yes, I
All you
can.
do is-
Look at a fucking
The fucking
satellite. It goes around the earth.
The satellite.
That's not a demonstration of gas
It's
pressure.
not my fault. You
That's-
guys don't believe in satellites.
Believe.
You ain't got a
You're
physical.
wrong.
Do you know what a physical demonstration is, ballistic? Ballistic. Do you know what a physical demonstration is?
Yes, we can move past that. Science is not
Do you
limited to what we
know?
see in nature.
Do you answer questions? Do you ever answer questions?
I do.
You know what?
It's a
You know what a
satellite.
physical demonstration? Do you know what a physical demonstration is?
Yes, I do.
So why the fuck are you talking about satellites?
The thing
They're
is,
physical, and they can demonstrate the forces of gravity. Damn.
You can't demonstrate.
Satellite.
Listen. You don't know what a physical demonstration is, then, are you? Because it's nothing to do with fucking look at the satellites. That's completely not
Alright,
the
what's a
fucking
physical
answering the question.
demonstration? Tell me. Come on.
Physical
Ballistic.
demonstration of gravity
outside.
would be you physically demonstrating it, not pointing up into the sky and saying, "Look at that satellite." That's not a physical demonstration, is it?
How's
you
that not a
fucking
physical
retard?
demonstration?
You
Yeah,
fucking
that's-
retard.
Retard. While you're on there right now.
Ballistic.
problem.
Ballistic. The religious server is a few steps down. Believe is for religion. So if you want to do that, go ahead and go over there. This is about empirical evidence in science.
Which
so if
none
you
of
got
you have
any of
any.
that,
We have no
you have
evidence
none.
or
He said
anything.
All you
stars
have
are
is
being
believe.
born.
What?
We saw
What
stars
happened?
being born.
That
You know how
ballistic.
stars are born?
Prove gravity right now in this voice channel. Go ahead. We're waiting.
Right. So
We
again,
can say that
a
satellites exist, but we
hypothesis
can't
is
prove
not
that
begging
they're
the question.
orbiting due to globe gravity. What were you saying, Brenda?
I said a hypothesis is not begging the question.
It is if it's so mixed. We
No,
don't, we
it's
can
not.
accept that satellites exist without accepting that globe gravity is what's causing them to orbit. That's
A
a fallacy of
hypothesis-
composition. You have to prove both parts.
Fallacy of composition. What are you talking
He
about?
doesn't know what that is.
Fallacy of
Explain
composition
your
means that you
fallacy.
can prove part of it's true, but not the whole thing's true. And when you
So-
prove that part of it's true, you assume that the whole thing has been proven true, namely that satellites exist, therefore the mechanism of gravity must be slingshotting them over the Earth. That is not true. Satellites can be true without the second part of that composition being true.
How can an orbit be true without gravity?
A balloon orbiting up there in ether, space, ionic currents. There's other options available that you need to
Show
explore.
me one scrounge of evidence of a
hold
satellite.
on.
What the fuck do you have to
Define the
do?
term. Define the term orbit. Literally go and look up the definition.
No,
of
he's
orbit.
already done it.
It
Like
means
4
to go-
times.
Circling a celestial
done it.
body.
See,
There you
got
go.
it already. Got it
Circling. You
already.
just said
Ballistic.
circling.
Was it born? Was it born
Listen.
in a gaseous
Listen,
cloud?
ballistic. Listen. You've just asked now, for some evidence. Now, what should I do? Talk in circles for half an hour, like you do every time you ask somebody
Go for
when
it.
someone asks you a question.
Oh,
Listen,
listen.
satellites, right? Satellites, shut the fuck up. Listen, satellites can be in quantum locking. There's one possibility. That's a theory. We can
Quantum
demonstrate
locking?
that. We can demonstrate quantum locking on here on
Demonstrate
Earth.
it.
You can't.
doesn't know what
Yeah,
any
we
of that
can.
stuff
There's a
is.
video. Just Google it. You go onto YouTube and put
You know
quantum
what
locking in.
quantum locking is?
He doesn't have a
Ballistic.
clue. He didn't know
So
what the
we can
program
talk
was.
about
He didn't
quantum
know what
locking.
He's Googling
Yeah,
right
if you
now.
want.
Quantum locking has nothing to do with satellites.
Well, that's what you say, but you don't fucking know, do you? Are you up there with the satellite now, you fucking idiot? No, you're not. Shut your damn pie hole.
So
Now listen,
abuse is
with
not
there's
really
a demonstration.
proper
There's a
response.
demonstration.
There's no
Hold on,
such
there's a
thing as-
demonstration. No, ballistic. It's your turn to demonstrate to us.
Quantum locking
Right?
has
Gas
nothing to
pressure
do
Still
with
waiting
an
for your
orbital
citation. You
mechanics.
claim a lot, but where's your
No.
citation?
No. You can go to
You want to
YouTube.
get
and
into
put
like you want to
quantum
get to brawl? Let's
locking.
get into a brawl, bro.
Go to YouTube, you fucking
No, that's not how
numbskull, yeah?
citations work.
Listen, you little
Citations
numbskull.
don't work
You
that
little
way.
numbskull.
I do not
Listen,
have to search
you little
for your
numbskull.
citation.
It's your turn to answer
Now
a
we're
question.
talking. We're
It's your
talking
turn
for
to
each
answer a
other, bro.
fucking question, you little degenerate. Yeah?
Right,
Your
I'll
turn to
You'd
answer
have to
one fucking
prove,
question.
in order
Can
for there
you or
to be
can you not
quantum
demonstrate
locking, you'd
gas
have to
pressure without a
prove that there's
container?
superconducting
Can you
and
or can you
magnetic
not
fields.
demonstrate gas pressure without a container? Can you Yes or no, demonstrate gas pressure about a container. Just say no and fucking just concede you can't do it, you fucking idiot.
So there's no need for this kind of abuse.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Brenda. Go and
No,
fucking
shut
suck a
the
dick.
fuck up,
gravity
you twat. Why are you
contains.
gonna try to hate
Don't
on
give a
her?
fuck, man.
Gravity
I'm
is
sick of you lot coming in there
gravity
chatting
Oh,
shit.
then don't
Yeah,
fucking
answer the
listen to me.
fucking
Shut the
question.
fuck up.
Right, I'm
So
going to start
gravity
muting people.
contains.
It's gone too far.
Is that a
Right, don't
woman's
mind a
voice?
little bit of it, but it goes too far. So let's back off a little bit. Let's continue the conversation. Brenda, carry on.
Yeah, so gravity contains the atmosphere to the Earth. That's containment.
We've been talking about this for 2
Demonstrate
hours.
it then, you stupid bitch.
Gravity doesn't pull
What's
gas
demonstrate it.
down.
Listen,
Gas
no one
goes
cares
in
about your
all
stories.
directions.
Demonstrate it or
Brenda.
shut the fuck up.
I wouldn't
Well,
mind
the
talking
problem, Brenda,
exclusively
with-
with Chocolatesayian about it if he wants to ask me questions about it.
Well, the
Go for a
problem with
1v1 then.
Right, sorry, Brenda, are you challenging Chocolatesayian to a 1v1?
Sure.
Chocolate?
Yep,
Yes?
I'm here. I want to know
Yeah.
what gravity is.
Cool,
One on
okay.
one, one on one, one on one. Let's hear
So
it.
we're going to go with the share 1v1. I need a yes from both of you. Yes, Chocolate. Yes, Brenda.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Cool, guys. Everyone else, stick yourself on mute, please. I don't know who you want to referee this. Quantum Razor, if you want to continue refereeing from your last time, that was awesome.
Or you can referee Jedi. I don't mind.
All right, guys. You've got 3 objections. You've got to back up your objections. It's got to be for a decent freaking reason. Yeah, they are advertised in the arena rules. You know, fallacious reasoning, straw men, for example. Decent conversation. Any stopping the moderation will lead you to being muted. If I have to keep muting you to aid the conversation, you're going to end up being objected from the conversation after losing your objections. If you don't back up your objection will be taken away. Chocolate, question.
Yeah, Brenda, what's gravity?
It's a naturally observed phenomenon.
Really? Where do we naturally observe gravity?
All around us. It's something that we just naturally observed. It is all around us. It is a phenomenon wherein things appear to be attracted to the ground. They fall to the ground.
Can you show us that?
Yeah,
Where
you can
things
pick up.
appear to be attracted to the ground?
You can pick things up.
I'm interested in the attracted part. Where are things attracted to the ground?
Oh, that's just an appearance. I don't think that they are actually.
So that doesn't actually happen then? That's not actually happen then. So you just debunked yourself?
No, I'm saying
it appears to attract, but it's not attracting? So what the fuck are you talking about?
I said it's.
I'm asking you what gravity is.
If you would not interrupt me when I'm trying to reply to you, please. Could you do that?
I'm really
could
honestly,
you
I'm not
please
in the mood for
not
you.
interrupt me, please?
So could you fucking tell me what gravity is?
Gravity is a natural phenomenon that we all observe.
Where?
On Earth.
Can you point to where we see that on Earth? I've never
You
seen gravity.
can observe the phenomenon. If you pick something up and let it go, it falls.
So your gravity? Because you just said you picked something up and dropped it and it falls. Where was gravity in that equation?
Any person can pick any object up and they tend to fall.
Right.
And they fall.
That would make that person gravity because you're supposed to prove gravity.
I don't
That's
see
not
how
gravity.
that doesn't
That's a person
follow. How does
dropping
that,
something.
Somebody picking something up and letting it go doesn't mean that that person is a cause.
A person picking something up and letting it go doesn't make the person the cause?
Correct.
Are you serious, Brenda?
I am totally serious.
You're absolutely batshit fucking crazy.
Well,
can you prove
simply
where people see gravity? Where have you seen gravity? That's all I want to know.
Incredulity is not a response. Incredulity is not an argument. So
well, you have yet to prove your claim, so
I'm just
that's
saying
what I'm waiting for.
That you can pick up objects around you, like any object.
I need you to define what gravity is.
Excuse me. Please stop interrupting me. I would like it if you would stop interrupting me.
Define what gravity is.
I told you already.
Show it.
I told you already. It's a natural phenomenon.
Are you gonna
right?
give me any proof for that, or you were just gonna say that again and again and again?
You can observe it for yourself by picking objects up,
Oh, can
letting
I?
them go, and they tend to fall to the ground. That is the natural.
That would not be
That
seeing
is.
gravity then.
Excuse me. Could you stop interrupting me?
Nope.
Then we're done.
Okay.
Are
You
we
haven't
literally
proven
done?
anything.
Sorry, we're literally done.
We're done.
Brent, all your
If you can't hold a civil tongue
Yeah,
in your
we
head,
are. We
then
are
we're
literally
done.
done because I asked you.
You haven't
I
answered
asked you to prove your case.
I did.
Show me where we see gravity, and you keep telling me
I
about
did.
people dropping shit. That's not
Yes.
gravity.
That's the phenomenon
That's
that
fucking
people
gravity,
call
dude.
gravity.
Fucking wrong.
That's
Brenda,
what people call
Alright, guys, we
gravity.
can come
People
off here.
call people dropping something gravity.
Yes.
So where do I see the gravity? Because
You
that's
see the
people dropping
phenomenon.
something.
You see the
You
phenomenon.
see the phenomenon.
Yes.
So you're the cause of the phenomenon. You
I
dropping
didn't
the
say
thing.
I was the cause of phenomenon.
You just said people are dropping it.
No, I said people
Who's
see
the people?
phenomenon.
Are you the people?
Stop interrupting me.
Brenda, I don't give a
Objection.
shit. Are you the people?
Objection.
Or are you gravity?
Objection. I'm not being. I'm being
Hold
talked
on,
over.
sorry guys. Right, Brent, you said that you don't want this debate. Now
I
literally
want
said, right,
him
not
to
a
stop
problem.
interrupting me, and I want you to moderate.
Give a shit.
Hold on. You asked
honest.
me. You wanted to back out. I literally spoke. You didn't listen to me because you continued speaking through me. You then called a fucking objection. I'm pointing out. Do you want this debate or not? Chocolate said he hasn't got enough time for this.
I
You
want-
said that you're done. You just want him to listen to you, and all you're saying is you can drop things, and this is gravity. Chocolate's
Yes.
pointing out that's amazing. We want to figure out the cause of this shit. Are you going to be able to back this up with any science?
I can back it up.
If you're saying the phenomena is stuff goes down, what's the cause of stuff goes down?
I'm saying that I want moderation, where I am not continually interrupted when I try to answer a question.
Already bored.
And why do we have other people chiming in? They're not supposed to.
Because I've already called a halt to this debate. Did you not listen to my first fucking statement?
Yep.
Can't prove so are we going to do this or not?
You're gonna continue to tell me about how people are
Do you want
dropping
to continue?
shit.
Do you want to continue, Chocolate?
Personally, not really, but unless you're
Then
gonna prove
goodbye.
your
I'll
case.
step
Then
in.
goodbye. Take the
If
loss.
you don't want to, I'll step in. Brenda, would you like to talk?
Yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah, Chocolatesayian is afraid of me, so he's a coward and he runs out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brenda. Delusion.
Crazy, bro. That's crazy.
Delusion 100.
Yeah, so go ahead if you want.
Can you
Lemon.
show us gravity is?
Be quiet.
All right.
Somebody else is talking.
Do your
Yeah.
mic drop, Brenda.
All right.
Chocolate.
We were
Jordan,
talking
chocolate.
about gravity. We do see stuff fall down, but we also see stuff rise up. Isn't that a bit of a problem for the gravity theory with stuff like helium and other stuff going away from the center of the Earth's mass or whatever?
No, because buoyancy is explained in terms of gravity.
Isn't that sort of like Petitio Principi begging the question, saying, we have this thing that goes against gravity, so we're going to assume that gravity is pulling down everything else and indirectly buoying up the object?
No, you can explain the phenomenon of buoyancy in terms of gravity. So that means that any theory needs to explain all of your observations. So we have observations of things falling to the ground, right? Things that have weight. Other things that are buoyant can also be explained in terms of the same theory. So there's no contradiction.
It just seems like it's a bit of a mix of things. We're talking about gravity like it's a force, and kind of like it's just a structure, like an organizing principle, but it doesn't seem like I've ever seen anybody go to the center of the Earth's mass to verify that stuff is attracted to that point. Saying that stuff falls down, okay, that's part of what, is evident in some cases anyway. But being pulled to the center of mass on a ball, that part seems to escape proof.
Well, things are attracted towards mass, or at least they give the appearance of being attracted, right? Gravity is not technically a force. It's an emergent force, right? So we can think of it that way within the limited sphere of the Earth. However, in other cases, it is not useful to think of it as a force. However, on Earth, you can think of it as a force, and masses are attracted to each other, apparently, right? So if you have two balls like in the Cavendish experiment, the two lead weights are attracted to each other, and the Cavendish experiment measures that force of attraction.
It seems that gravity could be possibly absorbed under electromagnetism. Francis Nipper did a variation on the Cavendish experiment with masses and a central mass, and he was able to overcome the quote-unquote attraction with electricity added to the mass, and it turned into repulsion.
Yeah,
So,
if you have a countervailing force that will negate gravity, just like airplanes fly, because the lifting force counteracts it to the force of gravity that's pulling the plane down. So airplanes don't violate the force of gravity. They're simply a countervailing force that keeps the plane up in the air.
it does seem that the electrostatic force is stronger.
Yes, it
And we
is.
talk
Yes.
about the scale of gravity, but we don't really scale these forces in any sort of order. Usually, the stronger force, electromagnetism, would be allowed to take the cake and operate at a larger scale versus the weaker force of gravity, which would normally only be ordered and allowed to quote unquote operate in theory at the small scale. Weaker forces would have, weaker control. Stronger forces, like, say, electromagnetism, would be given greater control and greater, theoretical prominence as what's responsible for what we're seeing normally. But all of a sudden, gravity, like the Johnny come lately, can go to the top of the queue and take over from electromagnetism, which appears to be stronger. You don't think that that's a little bit suspicious?
Well, so gravity doesn't take over. Forces don't take over. They're additive, right? So if you have an electromagnet, it can pick up a piece of metal off of the ground, right, and counteract the force of gravity, which is holding that piece of metal on the ground. It can lift it, but gravity is always acting on that piece of metal. It isn't like gravity just disappears.
It just seems like it's more of a structure than anything. Like, you
I
can't
don't know
grab
what that means.
air. Well, the structure of, say, your body. Your body has more form and strength than the air, right? Most of the time, the air is gonna escape your grasp.
I'm a
But if you
solid.
put
I'm a
the air
solid, not a gas. Yeah.
yeah. If you put the ephemeral, ungrabbable air in a structure that is solid and grabbable like a balloon, all of a sudden you can indirectly grab that air if a structure is in place to do so. But otherwise, if the structure isn't there, it's not happening no matter how much force you throw at the air. That's what gravity seems like. It seems like these materialists are making a metaphysical claim about the structure of reality more than really
No.
talking about
Well,
force that would need another structure to operate, don't you think?
gravity acts on the gases of the air because gases have mass. So anything that has mass is going to be affected
Show me.
by the gravitational field of the Earth.
You said buoyancy earlier. What the fuck are you talking about?
So this is between
She,
me and Lemon.
sorry, Brent.
This shit ain't exclusive.
So this is between me and Lemon.
Just really quickly, Brenda, I have my suspicions about gravity in many ways. Magnetism is another force that we see go out and go in, and we can follow the field line. It appears to have a bidirectionality, it can go in both directions. Gravity only goes in one direction. Only have one direction, effectively toward the center. When does that happen? Even with magnetism, which is similar, it has a magnetic central mass that everything's attracted to. It goes in and it goes out. and you can see the field lines in a ferrule cell. Why don't we see that with gravity going not only in but out?
I don't know what you're asking. You're asking so we can put metal shavings on a piece of paper, put a magnet under it, and you can see the lines of force. Is that what you're asking? Why can't we see the lines of force?
And it seems to be much more.
You could if you had a large number. You could if you had a large number of masses arrayed in a certain way. However, because of the weakness of gravity, you would need something the size of a planet.
It just seems so suspicious because we need such a large scale to test it, which effectively renders it unfalsifiable because we'll never be at that scale to test it and verify it.
No, we are at that scale. We can do that. Sure.
We can. Where can we do that?
Oh, you can see it here on Earth.
I see stuff go down, but I don't see it go to a gravitational.
You see the atmosphere of the Earth being held to the surface of the Earth. That's due to gravity.
I see it being held, but I don't see it going down. I don't see it going down into the Earth, into the center of the mass of the Earth. And if we're going to go,
why would it go? Why would it go to the center of the Earth?
Wouldn't it go to the center of the Earth's mass under the current gravity?
The Earth is solid. Why would a gas? Gases can't pass through solids.
I thought the people that believed in gravity were making the claim that everything was attracted toward the center of mass. Do we have prima facie on its face evidence of this attraction toward this center?
Yeah. There's a gravity
that we have to just interpret.
Yeah. There's a pressure gradient of the atmosphere. The pressure of the atmosphere is greatest at sea level. The closer you get to the Earth, the greater the pressure. That's prima facie evidence of gravity.
Gas does pass through solid object.
What was that?
Gas does pass through solid object.
Well,
no, it can't.
Yeah, yes, it can, depending on what that solid object is literally fucking made of.
No,
you can have the vacuum chamber hold tight. You can have a vacuum chamber that's comprised of concrete and reinforced steel. Now, this is 8 foot of reinforced concrete and steel to attain the highest achievable vacuum heat on Earth. Yet, the gas still penetrates this container, passing through the reinforced concrete and steel. So it most definitely depends on what the gas is and what the container is, because heating can still pass through the fucking elastic of a balloon. Because when the balloon becomes more and more elastic, it becomes more and more porous. So it depends what the solid is.
No, yeah, if the solid is porous, then gases can permeate through it. But if the solid is not porous, then it won't.
So be more specific then.
Why?
Because if you're going to start talking about gas, you have to realise you need a fucking huge container that's not porous.
Oh, you don't need a huge container.
Yeah, you do.
You can have just a glass container on your desk and have a vacuum in it. You don't need a huge container.
Yeah, but to achieve, let's say, high negative or less values of gas pressure, you require more containment. Depending on the volume, the size, depending on the volume and the size of that container.
Not really. That's not really true. You can have a high degree of vacuum on your table. You don't need those huge things.
Not the one that's in space. You can't achieve that high. And we do have to achieve them. We do require containment. And yes, there are some physical matter that gas can't penetrate.
Right. So,
but if it's porous, the gas will.
Right. But
what if it's
glass
so
is not porous?
What if it's so porous that there is no container? There's just really, really big holes everywhere. What if it was that porous? How would that be contained then?
On a certain level, this force, Brenda, you'd have to admit, would have to pass through the solid structure if it's going to, go toward the center of mass, don't you think?
Gases don't pass through solid metal.
She can demonstrate high vacuum on her desk by using suction cups. Just saying. You don't need some fancy equipment.
You need a container, though.
Suction cups have a high vacuum in between the cup and the surface.
But it does demonstrate how even a vacuum needs containment. So the question begged with the supposed vacuum of space in the Star cosmology is where is the container for space that allows it to maintain those vacuum conditions.
Could you
Vacuums
do it
don't.
without the suction cups? Do that same
Vacuums-
thing without suction cup, and then tell me that there's a vacuum.
Vacuums don't need containment, Lemon.
Do it without the suction
We've had
cups.
a vacuum. I think I have heard you before say that we do have a partial lowering of pressure toward, I guess, presumably vacuum with a plane.
Well, with an airplane, you have the Bernoulli principle going on. The airfoil creates a differential pressure between the underside and the top side of the wing, which creates a force that lifts the plane.
Right, but we could
without
also
a
explain
container.
that.
Without a container.
But we could also explain that with a flowing medium and explain and put that under the aegis, under the banner of flow, as opposed to just vacuum. Although there may be some vacuum there,
So-
it doesn't appear to be a sustained vacuum. It's more like a flowing fluid flowing from the upper side of the wing to the underside of the wing, and providing a medium that is lifting up the plane as it's flowing under the wing.
Yeah, so it works in water too. Airfoils work in water too. So that's pressure without a container. An airfoil is pressure without a container.
But that vacuum doesn't last. And as far as I can see, that's more of a
irrelevant.
flow, unless things are flowing in space. Similarly, with something to flow, this philosophy is baseless.
You don't need flow in space to create the
Have that
vacuum
flow
of space.
inside
The
a
vacuum of
vacuum.
space, the vacuum is just what it is, right? The reason that we have air on Earth is because gravity holds the air to the Earth, and you can demonstrate that by the gradient pressure of
That is
atmospheric
fucking
pressure
bullshit.
on
That's
the
such
Earth.
bullshit.
Well,
Such bullshit.
prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Prove it
Well,
right.
the thing is,
What the fuck are you talking about?
well, the
Prove me
thing,
wrong.
Bro.
well, we can also explain that under a different aegis.
Like what?
Gravity at this point looks like an organizing principle. So if we're talking about the organizing principle, the only thing that I can see that organizes to that level is sound and frequency. You pour salt on a cymatic, put out the frequency, and the salt organizes itself into different shapes, probably because space is reorganizing into different forms with the frequency. So why couldn't we just go with something contained that is organizing by electrostatics, frequency, or something else as an alternative to this gravity force that you're seem to be implying is doing the organization?
So you could think of gravity as an organizing force. For instance, the density tower, for instance, is organized by gravity, not by density. And we can prove that by taking a density tower into the vomit comet, and when the plane is in free fall, the density tower becomes disorganized. And when gravity is restored, then it becomes organized. So gravity is an organizing force. It organizes things by weight.
But couldn't we just think of that as, say, the electrostatic fields finally layering and achieving organization, say, from the structure of reality or the continuum fabric that reality, is vibrating in or whatever, or some sort of alternative than, this force pulling to the center of a ball that when we don't even see evidence of 8 inches per mile squared?
Sure. You could offer your word salad, which was complete gibberish and had absolutely no meaning at all. But what I'm talking about actually has meaning, testable, verifiable experimental results. You can prove.
But you can only test part of it, though. You can't go to the center of mass and show that something's attracted to there. That's theoretical. So if we're still at the theoretical level, even with that, why can't we go with other theories? That's what I don't understand.
It is not part of the theory of gravity that there is something in the center of the Earth that is causing everything to become attracted to the Earth. That's not how gravity works. Gravity is created by the mass of the Earth.
But
all of it.
Mass is such a nebulous definition. What's mass? Matter. What's matter? That which takes up space. What's space? That which holds matter. It's a circular definition that doesn't seem to have an essence.
No,
it's not circular. Fully understand matter, which is the space that it's occupying. So if it doesn't even have essence as a definition, what are we even talking about here?
Mass is not circular. Mass is the measurement of the amount of resistance to acceleration that an object has.
what is doing the resisting? What
The mass
is the essence of the thing doing the resisting?
So their mass is the numerical measurement of the amount of resistance that any object with mass has. It is a property of things containing matter that they resist acceleration. They do so.
But that's an action. That's
Yes.
not an essence. And similar,
Yeah, it is.
dissimilar things
Yes,
can
it
have similar
is.
action. I can practice law and not be a lawyer by my action, but a lawyer will
No, you
practice
can't
law to
practice
be a
law.
lawyer and
Mass-
will not be a lawyer in essence.
Mass is
That's dangerous.
Lemon. Mass is an essence, just like charge. Charge is also an essence.
It just
These are
seems like these are
fundamental-
abstractions
they're-
that have
no, they're-
varying levels of relation to reality.
No, they are fundamental properties of things. Charge is a fundamental property. Mass and spin are also fundamental properties. Mass, charge, and spin are fundamental properties. In your parlance, they are essences.
But the thing is, if we don't have a real grasp on what the essence of this thing is, it could
We
change
do.
right
I
from
already
under
told
us and we
you.
wouldn't even know.
I already told you
Something
what it
that
is.
wasn't matter before could become matter and mass later and vice versa, and we
No.
wouldn't even know because we don't even have a real definition or a real feel on what the essence of this stuff is.
I already
beyond,
told you what it is.
Simple and abstraction.
I already
That-
told
that-
you
that
what
may
it
not
is.
be good.
I told you what it is.
But
I already
to
gave
have
you
the
the
full-
definition. I gave you the definition. It's a numerical
But the
measure
full
of
means-
of an object's resistance to acceleration.
Lemon, can I say something?
Sure.
That's inertia. Go ahead, Lemon.
Yes, that's inertia. Mass is a measurement
is.
of the
So
amount
mass
of
is inertia.
No, mass is a
No,
measurement
it's not.
of inertia.
Nathan, shut your fucking trap, you worthless sack of shit.
Well, that wasn't okay.
No, that wasn't really called for.
Well, it's not like flat earthers don't use that kind of language.
Well, let's not even continue down this road. All right, so let's just continue
so
the
the point is,
conversation.
so to be clear, inertia is resistance to acceleration. Mass is a measurement of that property. It is a numerical
But the thing is,
measurement.
I can
It
practice
is
law
okay.
and not be a lawyer. A lawyer has an essence that goes beyond just the practice of law that
Yeah,
makes him
I'm
quote
not-
unquote
I'm
have
not
the
talking about-
qualifications.
I'm
Even
not
that
talking
is,
about
you know,
human-
abstract in and of itself. But how abstract is this versus how much is there something here to relate to reality? Is this anything more than philosophical abstraction saying matter is that which takes up space, space is that which holds matter? Do we have a full definition without that full
I gave you the
dynamic?
definition. You keep asking. I've already given the definition.
But what if something in space accumulates and materializes to the point where it has inertia where it didn't before, like air? Air, most of the time, does not have enough force, inertia, whatever, to knock over a house. But if enough air accumulates in a tornado, it's going to pick that house up and throw it across the county. It appears at that point something that didn't have a whole lot of interaction, mass, inertia, whatever you're talking about in your example, accumulated enough force to do so later. What if we're
I
seeing
don't see
that
how that's problematic.
matter and or space?
I don't see how that's problematic. The fact that a little puff of wind can't blow over a house, but a hurricane can, is not a problematic. It's not problematic in the least. I have no idea what you're talking about anymore.
Problem is,
Do you have anything
space
else? Do you have anything else?
Can have matter-like properties, and you need to open
Space-
yourself up to that
No.
when space starts having matter-like properties.
Space doesn't have matter-like properties. It's not matter.
But we're finding energy in space all the time. Matter
No,
has energy.
we're not. We're not. You're wrong again.
Finding radio waves, electricity, zero-point fields, Casimir effect, energy out of nowhere. It seems like your
there's no-
philosophy is cutting
Yeah,
us off to
there's-
the fact that there is matter-like effects where supposedly there's not supposed to be any sort of matter-like effect. That's what I'm talking about. Maybe
Yeah.
we need a new philosophy here.
Well, you not understanding things doesn't mean that they're mysterious. So radio waves are in space. They're not part of space. They're simply traveling through space.
But that's another problem with gravity. It's predicated on this gravity force to pull matter from the void and concentrate it and collect it into a form. That becomes
That's not.
meaningless
That has
if
nothing. That is
space has matter-like properties. That becomes meaningless.
no. This is just nonsense. It is not our theory that gravity pulls matter from the void. That's just gibberish. So, do you have anything else? You wanted to talk about matter. I
Other
told
than
you.
the fact
I've
that
told
your
you what. Just a minute.
philosophy is a
Just a
little
minute.
problematic.
Just a minute. I've told you. I've given you the definition of gravity and of mass. I've told you what they are. You don't seem capable of understanding them. That's fine. That's okay. You can go and figure these things out on your own. There's plenty of
Lemon.
I can
YouTubes.
understand it, but the thing is, you don't have a center of mass to prove the part of your theory that's essential, namely
That's
that
not.
it's, in all of its pieces is present with the center of mass that everything's being pulled to. It
Yeah.
just seems like a general philosophical abstraction that we might be able to replace with another philosophical abstraction potentially.
It is not part of the theory of gravity that there is something at the center of the earth that is pulling everything downwards. That is not part of the theory.
Oh, please say what the current iteration of the theory is.
The current iteration of the theory is that there is something about mass which bends space-time. That bending of space-time, caused by the uneven distribution of mass, gives rise to a pseudo-force or an emergent force, right? That makes it appear as though things are attracted to each other. It causes them to accelerate. It gives them a vector of acceleration.
But that's even worse, Brenda. If
That's the current
space is a
theory.
vacuum, like you appear to have just been saying, there would be nothing in space to bend. Bending is a physical operation, or even better, it's something that something substantial does. Something
Yes.
substantial has to bend. If there's
Yes.
nothing in space, according to your theory, what is bending?
Space
Either
itself.
space has properties
Space
and it's
itself
something,
is.
or it does not.
Space-time itself is bent and distorted by the presence of mass.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you if that's the ether. And if that's the ether full of energy and interactions, perhaps it has electrostatic interactions that we could label as gravity.
No,
I
there's
agree
no
with you.
ether. There's no ether, and there's no electricity that is responsible for this. We know this because we've done the experiments. We can show mass bending space and therefore bending light. We've shown that we can show this.
I just have a problem with this philosophy. It seems to be
That's a you problem. That's not a theory problem. That's a you problem.
Philosophy, exploration stops. People can't think anymore. There's just too many holes or just too many workarounds you have to write for the theory because the philosophy behind it is so effed. That's going to be a problem for scientific exploration.
Well, you have demonstrated that you don't understand the theory that you object to. So you should learn the theory first before you object to it.
I think I've learned enough.
Lemon, can I get a second?
I'm done.
All right, Brenda, I have a question for you real quick on the topic. Can I continue? Can I continue
Yes,
for Lemon?
certainly. I would love to, Nathan.
You were saying mass attracts mass.
No, I'd say the unequal distribution of mass gives rise to the bending of space-time, which gives the appearance of mass attracting mass.
So mass doesn't attract mass, but mass appears to attract mass.
The bending of space-time gives the appearance of mass attracting mass.
Got you. Mass causes space-time to bend.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. I said the bending of space-time gives rise to the appearance of mass being attracted to mass.
That's what I said. That's what I said, and you said that's
no, it
not
isn't.
what I said.
You said mass attracts mass, and that's not what I said.
No, you said mass causes a bending in space-time, which gives the appearance of attracting mass. That's what you said.
Yes.
So, and then you define mass. Can you just do that one more time for the audience?
Mass is a numerical measurement of the resistance to acceleration.
So, the resistance to acceleration.
So if an object has mass, then the way we would measure its mass, we would measure how resistant it is to acceleration.
Yeah, but do you understand how that's circular reasoning?
No, that's not circular.
Yes, it definitely is. Can I explain? Because you're saying mass causes things to appear to move towards other masses. I asked you to define mass, and you said it's the resistance to force.
No, that's not what I said.
Causing other things to move.
No, you're misquoting me. You're misquoting me. So mass is the numerical measurement of an object's resistance to acceleration. Full stop.
Great. That's inertia.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Mass is a measurement. Mass is a measurement of inertia.
So a measurement, it's a concept.
No, it is a number, like length.
So, yeah, so is 330, but that doesn't make it anything more than a concept, because somewhere else it's not 330.
If I have if I have a board that's 4 feet long, right? That's a measure of how long the board is.
The measurement is a concept.
That doesn't mean that the board isn't 4 feet long, though. It does it.
So you just tried to tell me that a concept, mass, is causing other things, a concept, to appear to move towards each other.
Incorrect. The concept describes the thing we are talking about. So the concept of length describes a measurement of a direction or a length of a 2x4, right?
Yeah, and you said the concept.
The concept refers.
Mass, you said the concept of mass is a numerical value for inertia, which is the resistance to acceleration, which you're now saying mass causes acceleration, Brenda.
Nope.
You are a circle jerking number.
I'm not saying
you
that.
are.
That's wrong.
It's
You're
circular
misquoting.
reasoning. Circular
You're
logic.
misquoting me. You're misquoting
No, I'm not
me.
at all. It's circular logic.
No,
you're saying mass causes things to move. I asked you to define mass. You said it's a numerical value for things not moving or not accelerating or resistance to force or inertia.
Mass is a measurement of the resistance
Go ahead
to
with
acceleration.
Your double gymnastics, Brenda. It's a joke. Okay,
Right.
I'm done with the debate. Thanks for letting me step in, Lemon. I appreciate you.
So concepts refer to physical things. So the concept of length refers to a physical measurement of the length of, say, a 2x4. The concept of mass refers to a measurement of how resistant an object is to being accelerated.
But you're saying that numerical value, the more it goes up, the more it causes other things with a high numerical value of its resistance to force or attraction goes up. They move towards each other. Okay?
Yes.
That's stupid because your definition says the bigger they are, the more they're going to resist acceleration. You're a goofball, Brenda. Done. Clay's closed. Circular logic. Right there on the table for you.
It's not circular because
logic.
It's not circular. Excuse me. It's not circular because mass. Because it's not circular because mass is defined in terms of acceleration, and that's not circular.
Brenda, do you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in France? In McDonald's?
A cheese royale.
Why is it that they do that?
I don't know, because marketing, I suppose.
You're gonna sit there and tell me you've never seen Pulp Fiction?
Pulp Fiction.
We're off topic. You know, I think that
we're not.
A convention for you.
We're not off topic.
I think that
Pulp
Fiction is a good movie, but it has nothing to do with mass.
Yeah,
quite does. Listen.
No one else gets this. Someone, please tell me someone gets it. What I'm trying to say.
I do. It's quite clear. It's quite simple. Right, royale with cheese, not a quarter pounder, because they don't have that same type of conventional system. We're talking about weights in France. Quarter pounder, they've got the metric system in France, so they don't call it a quarter pounder. It doesn't exist there.
Does royale with cheese cause a quarter pound of beef to be between two pieces of two halves of a
Pointing
bun?
out the convention.
You're
Does,
spiraling.
does
Convention.
Royale with
Spiraling.
cheese? Does Royale with cheese
And
cause a
why are
quarter
you
pound of
trolling the
meat to
arena?
be between
Why are
two
you
pieces
trolling,
of bun?
Brenda?
Brenda, you
Brenda,
are
stop
correct. It does
trolling.
not. But the thing is, these concepts that you're talking about, Brenda, they are concepts that help us approach reality. But if they're helping us approach an essence in reality, it would be nice if they were unchanging. But mass and acceleration and all this other stuff have various conditions under which they change, making mass become this meaningless, mutable thing.
Well, you've already
Like I can
demonstrated.
weigh 300 pounds in air and then weigh a whole lot on a scale in air. But
Yeah,
if I go
weight.
into the medium of water, all of a sudden my mass is meaningless and
That's
I
wrong.
interact with the scale a little bit less because the medium is now supporting me and changing the way my mass is expressed. So
Yeah.
you're already saying that mass is really a group of interactions. So if we're talking about a group of interactions, namely inertia or how much there's resistance to acceleration, we need to talk no more. We need to stop talking about the essence of mass as opposed to the number of interactions and the nature of interactions that come out in a certain field, in a certain environment, under certain conditions. That's what we need to be talking about, like with relative density and other conceptions to handle the mass's interaction with the medium as opposed to the center of mass.
Right. So you not understanding all this doesn't mean anything. You not understanding the difference between weight and mass is irrelevant. You need to learn the difference between weight and mass and why your weight changes underwater, but your mass does not. You not understanding that isn't it isn't my problem that you don't understand why. Excuse me. I let you talk. I let you talk. Now be quiet. You not understanding that weight and mass are different things, and that your weight changes when you are underwater, even though your mass does not change, is something that you can go and find out. It's not my problem to inform you and to educate you. Go and find out for yourself. Because everything else you said was gibberish.
Stay around for too much rhetoric. But the thing is, there doesn't seem to be a coherent philosophy here.
There
it
is.
Seems to be very
you not
shifty.
understanding it doesn't matter.
Really much to
Shut up, Brenda. It's circular.
So you not understanding how things work isn't my problem.
We don't understand how your circular logic proves anything.
I already proved it's not circular, Nathan. I already proved it's not circular. Mass is defined in terms of acceleration. That's not circular.
You just told us it was the resistance to acceleration.
Yes, in terms of.
Which is inertia.
Yes, mass is defined in terms of inertia. That's not
Brenda,
circular.
You're saying the more
that's not circular.
The more mass something has, the more it attracts something else.
If mass is a measurement,
you have to ask. You have to ask Nathan if you want to talk flat Earth data.
That's the object. That's the opposite of what you're saying. Okay, you're saying big things don't move, but if you get other big things near them, they move together. And you can't even demonstrate
that's not
that.
what I'm saying. You don't understand.
You can't demonstrate that.
Flat Earth Data wanted to say something.
You just keep saying you don't understand, but I keep reiterating your argument concisely, and I got you to say it over and over again, and then I tore it to shreds. Yeah, definitely.
You misquoted me and misunderstood me.
But it happens all the time because you're a delusional, frothing zombie in the arena getting dismantled. That's what happened. It was live on my YouTube.
You can say that, but
that's just
wrong.
Brenda, it was live on my YouTube.
I don't care. So great. That's fantastic.
While you're shaving tomorrow morning, go watch my video.
Fantastic. So Flat Earth Data, did you want to ask something?
You said that mass is a measurement of resistance, right?
It's a measurement of the resistance of an object to acceleration.
Okay, so when you're in water, your mass doesn't change. Doesn't the resistance change when you're in water?
The resistance would change, yes, because that would be due to friction, though.
So why are you saying
Brenda's
no difference? Why are you saying that mass and weight don't change then, or mass doesn't change in water?
Your mass doesn't, because your mass is fundamental. It's a fundamental property.
Yeah, and you change the resistance to it when you get into water.
That's due to friction.
The mass changes. based on the resistance.
The mass doesn't change in water.
You just said it doesn't. So I just wanted to correct
The
you.
mass doesn't change in water. The reason that it's harder to move in water is because of friction.
Have the same mass, but different weights.
Hey, Brenda, if I'm on ice skates, does my mass change?
No.
Oh, well, you just told me it's a numerical value for the resistance to acceleration. But when I'm on ice skates, I definitely have a lot less resistance than when I'm on the floor with shoes on. Smarty pants.
Yes, due to friction.
So you're going to contradict yourself again.
That's not a contradiction. That's due to friction.
Yeah, it is.
There's less friction when you're on ice skates because your skates are on a thin layer of melted ice, melted water.
So that would change the numerical value of the resistance to force, and that would change my mass according to your definition.
No,
Brenda.
it changes. It changes.
Yep. You're going to say I don't understand again?
No, it removes friction.
Your dumbass argument.
It removes the friction. It removes friction. You still have the same amount of mass.
You're delusional. You just want to hear yourself talk because you just want to believe everything you're saying is true. That's the definition of insane. Inability to perceive reality. Okay?
But Brenda, it sounds like you're coming from a philosophy where mass is this inherent thing, which is fine, but it doesn't seem to have a constant essence. Its essence seems to be very mutable.
No, it doesn't. It isn't. Mass
is
a fundamental property of objects along with charge and spin.
Shut up.
These are fundamental properties that things have. Charge, spin, probably a few other properties I can't think of. These are fundamental properties of objects in our universe.
Brenda, are you waiting for the vaccine?
I'm not aware of any vaccines being available.
Yeah, it comes out late October. CDC just announced it today. Are you waiting for the vaccine to come out so you can take it?
Well, I would evaluate to see what the people say about it. But I would probably take it if I think it's safe.
So
if I think it's safe, I'll take it.
People say it's safe. So if people say Ursa Globe, you think it's probably
not if people say it's faith. If trustworthy people say it's faith.
Safe. Oh, people you trust and people in high
positions. How do you trust anyone other than your own family? Like, why do people say that? Like, what the?
Well, some people are more trustworthy than other people.
Higher authority. I'm just saying, who in higher authority can I trust? That doesn't even exist.
Well, a doctor.
Me. I can only trust my family and barely that. A doctor I can meet and learn to trust over the course of my lifetime.
Exactly. I would trust a doctor to operate on my brother or sister before I would trust my brother or sister to operate on them.
That's a non-sequitur.
Me
We're
too.
talking about vaccines,
I would,
not
but
surgeries, Brenda.
The reason is because a doctor has the experience and the expertise. So as far as the coronavirus goes, I would trust the people that have the education and the expertise. If they tell me that it's safe, then I will probably take it.
That's amazing, Brenda. The last doctor that I debated, which was a few weeks ago, it's on my YouTube if anybody wants to see it. I asked this doctor, Brenda, if he knew 3 ingredients in any vaccine, and he didn't. So these are the people you trust, Brenda, doctors that don't know the ingredients for the medicine they give out.
Well,
not only that, but I didn't even look.
We do appeal to the authority of a surgeon for surgery, but I don't know if we have real experts when it comes to vaccines with the fraud, the move to protect pharmaceutical companies from autism. We have more ignorance than real professionals who know about it.
Not have this discussion because this discussion can get your channel shut down.
Oh, Brenda. Talking about if you're going to take a vaccine in late October is going to get our channel shut down, Brenda?
Well, the orthodoxy does say that vaccines do this and that, but I see people with autism on the rise, people saying that, the vaccination can be a form of